Once upon a time, there was an elven queen of unsurpassed magic who lived in an enchanted forest. One day per year, she would open her realm to one mortal to enter, to try and receive or try and earn her blessing. On this day, men and women, young and old, rich and poor, would huddle in the darkness, waiting for the first rays of dawn to shine upon her forest so the portal would open. In the huddled mass, there were 3 women. There was Alicia. She was a recluse. She was ashamed and dying of her illness. She hoped the queen would assuage her pain and give her long life. Then there was Bethany. Bethany had been robbed of everything she owned in the world. She hoped the queen would assuage her of her powerlessness and poverty. And then there was Charlotte. Charlotte, who had so dearly loved a man, and she thought he loved her until he left her. She hoped the queen would assuage her of her longing and grief. They agreed that when that portal opened, they would run arm in arm and try and all make it in together. And moments later, the gateway did open as the sun shone upon the forest, and they ran. And amazingly, all 3 made it in. But just as the gateway was closing, Charlotte's cloak caught on the armor of a rather morose and sullen-looking knight who happened to be right by the doorway. And amazingly, he was dragged in as well. Now, the 3 women, they were shocked because they knew only one person could receive the queen's blessing. Now there were 4 of them. This knight had never had a good life. He had never earned any honors, had never achieved any glory. And he knew just by chance did he make it through here this time. So, being chivalrous as he was, though, he told the ladies, I will not go before the queen to try to earn her blessing. Instead, I will try and help you so that way one of you may make it there. So they set forth down the trail. They knew they had challenges to face before they could reach the queen. The first was a dragon. The knight ran forward to try and protect the ladies and struck with his sword, but it broke in 2. The dragon roared and said, Halt! None may pass unless you pay me with your grief. They were all stunned. Alicia, who was dying of an illness, broke out in tears because she thought we have already failed just when we had just begun. And the dragon, with a look of pity on his face, leaned down and licked the tears from her face and said, You may pass. So the 4 went on further down the path, and they came across a gate in the middle of a wall. And on the gate, it said, You must pay me the toils of your labor. They didn't know how to get through, so they tried pushing the gate. Gate wouldn't open. The knight tried lifting the women up over the wall, but it was too tall. They searched both near and far, but the wall seemed to go on forever, and they could not find a way through. They tried digging underneath, the knight using his shield as a shovel, but it would not break the ground. Bethany said, Don't give up hope. We must keep trying. And as she wiped the sweat from her brow, drops of sweat fell on the gate, and it opened with the fruits of their labor. So they continued on down the trail. And eventually they came to the queen's castle. But the drawbridge was up. How were they to get across? The knight tried using his shield like a little boat and set Charlotte upon it, but of course the shield immediately sank. And so he had to pull Charlotte back out of the water, when writing appeared magically in the water that said, You must pay me with the treasures of your past. And as they discussed trying to figure out what this meant, Charlotte realized it must mean happy memories. So she spoke out loud of the amazing memories she had of this man who she had loved but had left her. And the drawbridge dropped. So they go across the drawbridge, they enter the castle. The first thing they come to is a garden, where immediately Alicia collapses upon the ground. She is racked with pain from her illness. The other 3 says, We must carry her to the queen so she can receive the blessing, otherwise she'll surely die. And Alicia said, No, it's too painful even to touch me. Just one of you go on. Well, Bethany realized that these plants and herbs that are in this garden must have magical properties. So she gathered some up and she made a little bit of a potion or something, which she then gave to Alicia, and amazingly she was healed. Alicia was now free of pain, free of her illness, and she said, Bethany, for curing me. Surely you deserve to go on to the queen. But Bethany's like, all I lost was my wealth. Surely if I take some of these plants and herbs from here, I can go earn a living better than I had before, and I get to cure people doing it. I have no need to go on to the queen now. So she said, Charlotte, you must be the one to go on to the queen. Well, Charlotte realized, after having revealed all these memories, that if this man truly did not love her, she would be happier in her life without him. So therefore, she no longer had this grief. She had no need to go on. So she decided that the knight should be the one to go see the queen. This knight who had never received any honors, never received any glory. He thanked them and turned to walk away and stopped. He realized that there was no honor or glory or rewards that anybody else could give him that would outreach what he had earned today, helping these 3 women make it this far. So the 4 of them turned and left the forest, never having met the queen. But did they receive her blessing? So what is the moral of the story? The moral of the story is nobody can solve your problem for you. Surely you can get help. If you but ask, if you but try, you can solve a lot of problems on your own. Hiding from your problems doesn't solve anything. Complaining about your problems doesn't solve anything. Crying about them doesn't solve anything. All you must do is but try and maybe ask for help. Because if somebody solves the problem for you, you have not really done anything to deserve it. Thank you.
That's good.